the introduction, as a few people might not know, Emanuel Chibisakunde, I'm German African, so the whole topic of circularity in a global economy is very important for me, and I'm really happy to have the guests here. In terms of setting the scene, I would just like to start with a few trends. Where are we looking and where are we standing today? And in recent years, the fashion industry has been undergoing a major transformation. One, driven by the need for sustainability, regulations, and two, also changing consumer preferences. One of the most notable shifts is the rise of slow fashion, a movement focused on creating high quality, long-lasting garments that promote sustainability and reduce waste. This is in stark contrast to fast fashion, which continues to produce large quantities of inexpensive, trend-driven clothing at a rapid pace, but with significant environmental costs. At the same time, circular fashion is gaining momentum. Circular fashion encouraging brands to recycle materials, design clothes for durability, minimize waste through closed-loop systems. In addition, second-hand fashion and resale markets are booming, with platforms like Kleiderkreisel, Vinted, Mädchenflohmarkt, or Zalando Circle, allowing consumers to buy, sell, and trade pre-owned clothing, and reducing the demand for new production. Technology, super exciting for me as well, is rapidly shaping the fashion industry. We see the rise of digital fashion. We see AI-driven design, Mango being a very good example. The models of Mango are generated by AI. A lot of brands using data, predicting trends through AI, personalizing shopping for you, and creating virtual clothing in the digital environment. So having a digital twin is becoming more and more standard around the world. Sustainable materials and smart textiles are pushing innovation, with brands exploring alternatives like mushroom leather as well as lab-grown fabrics. Consumers are also increasingly demanding transparency, with a growing focus on ethical labor practices, fair trade, and sustainability certifications. Brands are responding by providing more information on the supply chains and adopting eco-certifications. Finally, the rise of gender-fluid fashion and inclusive sizing reflects broader cultural shifts towards diversity and inclusivity, ensuring fashion is accessible for everyone. Moving now to our panel for today, diving into the topic, circular economy and fashion and textile, I would like to introduce the panel, starting with Christina Rosenberg. Christina is Aufsichtsrätin of Hugo Boss and Aufsichtsrätin of Villeroy & Boch, is a highly experienced business leader specializing in transformation processes and organizational design. Since stepping out of Hermes, she founded Innotail to support companies in aligning their business models with sustainable practices and circular principles. Besides this, she's accompanying Nabore to realize real circularity in leather goods production and automotive sector. Welcome on the panel. Next, we have Karl Wagentin, co-founder of Circular Republic, which some of you might know, centered out of Munich, my hometown. So great to have you on the panel as well. Karl himself is a serial entrepreneur, coaching various startups and dedicated to advance the circular economy within the textile industry, promoting closed-loop production systems, sustainable material sourcing, automated sorting, and textile recycling. He works emphasizes helping companies along the entire value chain, transitioning the circular business models with innovation and collaboration. Welcome, Karl. Next is Professor Dr. Henning Wils. Henning, thank you very much for joining the panel. Henning is Director of Circular Economy at the Wuppertal Institute. He's an expert in developing circular economy strategies, will be at the Circular Valley in Wuppertal His focus is on circular economy strategies, with a particular focus on policy and regulatory frameworks that enable sustainable supply chains and resource management in the industries like fashion. He's one of the co-writers of the German circular economy national strategy, so definitely, expert in his field. And last on this panel is Professor Dr. Michael Braungart. Michael is lecturer at the University of Lüneburg and co-founder of EPEA, the origin of cradle-to-cradle design framework. His pioneering research focuses on sustainable materials and eco-design, providing practical solutions for the fashion industry to integrate circular products and principles and processes. That was the introduction of the panel, and I would say let's dive into the discussion. Let's dive into the impulses, starting maybe on the far left side, Michael, with the question we had in terms of elevator pitch. Why do you think is circular economy and fashion important now?
First of all, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm a one-trick pony. I never did anything else than what I do today. And different to Sascha Lobo, who is an expert today for terrorism, next time for artificial intelligence or for corona, I never did anything else than what I do today. This shoe we did with Puma for more than 14 years. Yeah, this is perfectly biodegradable, degrades in less than 6 months. And you know how far we are now? It's not about circular. Circular is about London Eye. It's linear thinking in cycles, but that stops innovation because you're trapped with what you have. Yeah? You first need to think about what you have, what is the right thing. There are 20,000 chemicals being used in textile industry. Yeah, more than half of all the wastewater pollution is caused by textiles. 1/3 of all the microplastic in the ocean is related to textile abrasion. So first we need to say what is the right thing instead of optimizing what we see right now. So what do you think about eating oysters? Because with oysters you have at least 15,000 particles of textile plastic back. We can do circular economy with that. Yeah. We find up to 40,000 particles of microplastic in one oyster. So why don't you think about a different approach? Learn just one thing today. Because of Africa, I was in Tanzania as well, like you. There the textiles end from Europe, and the biggest problem is in cotton is lycra. Lycra never degrades. It stays always in the environment, only becomes microplastic. So there are other elastans we can talk about which are perfectly biodegradable. If we would just take 5% lycra out of blue jeans, we would make a real difference. So let's talk about how we make a difference, not just about optimizing what we see. So Emmanuel, it's not about minimizing waste, because you still think about waste. It's like when I tell you, don't think about a pink elephant or don't think about Donald Trump naked, which is pretty much the same. Then you think about Donald Trump naked. Yeah. So we are the only species which is making waste. And when we are making waste, we are too many people. Let's talk about abrasion. Textiles need to be designed for the biosphere. That's why it's cradle to cradle, not circular. Yeah, it's a space, it's a sphere. And things which are just services need to go into the technosphere. Yeah, so let's eliminate the idea of waste, not zero waste, because then you still think about waste.
Michael, thank you. Henning, your elevator pitch, why does circular fashion matter?
Well, you mentioned this idea of slow fashion, but if we're honest, that's still a niche. We see that the increase of fast fashion really outpaces everything that we have in terms of circular innovation, also outpaces the growth of the recycling industry for textiles. So there is a need for transformative change, and I think there is a need for a regulatory framework that addresses all the different stages of the life cycle. Now, we need better products, we need ideas how to support a more circular consumption behavior, but we also need, of course, much better collection systems, recycling systems. And I think it's the job of the policymakers to come up with instruments, push and pull instruments that will not forbid certain types of fashion. I don't think that's the way. We don't need the bans of the plastic straws, but we need a level playing field for these more circular ideas. And what we see right now is that I think all the big companies are aware that this can't continue like we do at the moment. And we have to shift investments into more circular products, processes. And for that, we need long-term stability of regulatory frameworks. Now, I think that is what we hear from the industry. Yes, we want to do something and we want to change, but we have to have an idea where policymakers want to go and what kind of new technologies we should invest in, what kind of business models will be counted as circular. And I think that is something that we try to support with this German circular economy strategy that will include a specific chapter on textiles, and I'm really happy about that. You also have the European Commission with the textile strategy. It's not about regulating the specific details. I think the policymakers are very much aware that this should be left to the industry. It's about setting the framework, about long-term objectives. And what we're currently fighting for is to maintain the overall target of a reduction of raw material consumption in the German strategy from 16 to 8 tons. And that will only be possible if we also address how we produce and use and dispose textiles. I think that makes the topic so interesting.
Wonderful, Henning. Thank you very much. Level playing field, 16 to 8 tons, sounds really great. Looking forward to that. Karl, your elevator pitch, why does circular fashion matter?
Well, Circular Republic, our initiative, is part of the Unternehmertum ecosystem in Munich, and it's the biggest entrepreneurship center in Europe. So we have a vast access to startups along the entire value chain, from design, retail, how do I sell a product, do I sell it as a product as a service, do I have a rental program, sharing programs. There are circular enablement startups, software startups, up until recycling. And we have access to all of these startups and the newest technologies, which is super exciting. At the same time, we realize we really need to give access to these startups, first of all, to capital, and at the same time to industry partners to actually implement it. And this is a bit how I see my role at Circular Republic and beyond, to be like the spider web, basically, in the web of these three pillars of capital, industry, and the startup ecosystem, because you really need to be open to do it. And in the end of the day, I think it's all about courage. We just have to do it. We all talk about it, but we really have to get into a mode of actually doing it and implementing it and being open-minded for the startups and their technologies.
To the courage of all of us. Thank you, Karl. Christina, your elevator pitch. Why does circular fashion matter?
So I think all the predecessors, they discuss more the technical and scientific issues, and they're much more professionals than me, but I come from the pure business view from the big companies. And so if we see that sustainable materials are used, many startups coming up, there's a big challenge for the companies that most of the techniques are not scalable. That means you can really implement in niche products, niche companies, but for the big companies like Hugo Boss, like H&M, all those, it's very difficult with the new technologies to scale them. And only then we can give a good impact. At the same time, you were talking about moving from slow fashion to fast fashion to slow fashion. So I worked 6 years for H&M. I know exactly fast fashion. I worked 15 years for Hermes. I know slow fashion. And I think it's very, very important. It's not us and the companies who decides what the customer is buying. Sometimes we miss the customer focus. He's deciding what he's going to buy. And as long as we really flood the market or our circle with really low qualitative products, toxic products, all those things, it's very difficult because the customer will be attracted by those products. And there is no solution that we have regulations like with import tariffs, because this will be calculated also on the price policy of those really, really fast fashion companies. We only can really protect our markets by giving very good regulations because of quality issues, because of health issues that we do not let into the countries, into Europe. I don't only speak for Germany, into Europe, this kind of products, because this will pollute our circle of fashion. At the same time, I think we have to look, like Michael said as well, don't only think about circularity. We have many quick wins to do. Like the big fashion companies, they have virtual showrooms now. They do not produce anymore the samples. It was tons of samples each season. And you know, we do not anymore have 2 seasons. It's like 4 seasons, it's 6 seasons. Some companies, they have 12 collections they present to the customers, to the B2B customers. And this was all produced to generate waste afterwards. So we have many quick wins to do, and we have to focus on this. And there's a very, very positive message from my side. The mindset in the companies, it's really there to transform the companies enkelfähig. So we had a long discussion about enkelfähig, which means for those who do not speak German, we prepare the companies to exist also for our grandchildren. So we really, the mindset is there. In the beginning with the Supply Chain Act or with ESG reporting, it was more or less the CFO, the COO, they had to work on analysis, they had to work on reportings, all those things. Now it's really the CEO. So in the vision and in the mission of the company, sustainability and to make a better world, it's really in the mindset, and it's it's not anymore one department which so-called sustainability department. It's in every single department implemented. We start from design, product, sales departments, after sales service, all those things. At the same time, the custom is a very important issue because there are some trends, like you said, also resale or rent garments. It's no circularity, but at the same time, it prolongates the life cycle of the products. The same thing is everybody who's reading Textilwirtschaft, read about repairs. So the trend to repair products, it's coming back finally, because the last years, some products, it was impossible to repair them. But now Decathlon, they had just a very nice article today. They want to be #1 in Europe in repairing products, to offer this to clients. And last thing, education. Please, please, please educate your children. And it starts from 5 years. Just before they enter school, they start to create their own opinions. And the better our kids are educated, the better they will make their choice. That's all I can say for the moment.
Wonderful, Christina, thank you. Good, takeaway, make a difference, level playing fields, courage. And here it was customer-centric, enkelfähig, and education. Thank you for that. Let's dive into the discussion. And the first question I have for my panelists is, what do you consider the biggest challenge facing the fashion industry in adopting circular economy principles? How can businesses and stakeholders address these challenges? I don't know who wants to start.
Ladies first?
Ladies first? Yes, Christina.
So I always work for very strong brands, and I know these brands everybody's fighting for their own brand. But as we see, so I also consult a lot in automotive, but it's the same in fashion. We have big groups like BMW Group, Volkswagen Group, we have LVMH, we have Kering Group, many, many strong brands inside the groups. And if the groups do not start to share their knowledge, to share costs for sustainable products, they will not move forward because it's too expensive for everybody. And this would be my wish, that we have a really exchange and support and really collaboration inside the groups. They make the difference.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I also agree with what Michael said before about like thinking differently. We can, as long as we think in this linear model and try to make it a bit more circular, we are not actually gonna have a zero waste or no waste culture anymore. It's always gonna be still in that stigma. And we see that in our multi-stakeholder projects that we do with startups and players along the entire value chain. We bring them all together. Everybody's excited. Everybody wants to have access to this ecosystem. But in the end, everybody thinks about their own business strategy. And what I'm really trying to do is to bring everybody together to be open-minded and kind of guarantee that there will be a business model for every stakeholder around the value chain. Because in the end, it is about business, and we have to make the numbers work as well. But you have to have this open-mindedness and to actually start doing things and not only be interested in the ecosystem and talk about it, and maybe let's do a little bit in our sustainability strategy.
Thank you, Carl.
Well, you asked about the barriers, no? And I think this highly globalized value chain in the textile industry makes it really difficult to come up with meaningful and practical regulations. Policymakers had so many great ideas how to do that, and in the end, there were so many unintended side effects that the outcome was completely nonsense. And I think, that especially for the textile industry, we see that it's easy to say, let's regulate that. If it comes to implementing that in practice, that is really difficult. You can't regulate what the companies are doing in Southeast Asia, and you can't compare the situation over there to what we have here in Germany or Europe. I think I think it's important to acknowledge that this is not an easy task.
Okay, thank you.
I want to tell you that there is a certain contradiction on the panel, and maybe you can talk to us about it, what you see. I'm a big fan of fast fashion because look at a tree in spring, a cherry tree, fast fashion, changing colors with the seasons. So you say, oh, we need to come from 2,000 blossoms to 1,000 blossoms, yeah? No, you need to make things which are good instead of less bad. Even when you think about zero, you still think about, I'm talking about nutrition, and the whole idea of sustainability is wrong. It works for the biosphere. We want to be good for tigers and lions and oak trees, but in the technosphere, sustainability doesn't make sense. It's spooking the customer. And you say, oh, we want to educate our customer. Fashion is about craziness, about intuition, about fun, about enjoying life. It's more, we need to educate the designers. Yeah, there are A signers, B signers, C signers, and D signers, obviously. Yeah, and they don't really get the message. I talked to them from Hugo Boss, and it's a nightmare. They don't have any idea about Lycra. They don't have any idea about polyester and microplastic. Nothing. Yeah. So look, it doesn't help us when we reduce from 16 to 8. How stupid! It's overcompensated in 1 week in China. So it's just more for our good feeling. Yeah. No, let's enjoy life. I'm greatly about celebrating abundance, but being beneficial, not less bad. This cherry tree is not reducing, avoiding, minimizing. It's all guilt management. Fashion is about that people can express themselves close to their body. Then they don't need big cars, and because they are individuals. So I really enjoy fast fashion, but with the right materials. So if you would decide about making polyesters biodegradable, then microplastic in the ocean would be good because it's a little nano space for algae, bacteria, and mushrooms. So it would be healthy plankton. So look, we talk about impact, but we talk about beneficial impact. Let's have a footprint which generates life, yeah? Let's be good for this planet. For less bad, we are too many. We are not protecting the environment when we minimize the use of textiles. Yeah, it only keeps us busy somehow. I'm not protecting my child if I beat my child only 5 times instead of 10 times. Yeah, so we need to learn to be good for this planet. For less bad, we are far too many.
Yeah. Michael, thank you very much. Which is with this crowd around asking for a poll, if you don't mind, to say if you are pro fast fashion versus slow fashion, can you maybe show your hand? Who says we have to move to slow fashion? Just maybe a show of hands.
Both.
Slow fashion.
Both.
So, Michael, there's some controversy, which is great. There's no perfect and there's no right, but I agree. I think keeping the fun in design, saying as the seasons change, people might want to change, but maybe in a sustainable way, using the right materials is maybe the pathway, the middle way, meeting both.
Yeah, but Emmanuel, this is a terrible thing. It's guilt management in a sustainable way. How is your relationship with your wife? Would you say sustainable? Yeah. Then I'm really sorry for you. Yeah. We talk about fun, enjoying life, and I'm not. Look, I personally, my stuff is all second-hand stuff, even from Hugo Boss. Yeah. So because I don't want to have all this toxic stuff on my skin, so I buy better second-hand first. Yeah. So let's talk about how to make materials which are good for the biosphere. And then everybody's happy. The more material you have, the better it is. Like the more leaves from the tree you have, the better it is. Not minimizing, not guilt management. You make your customer the enemy. You said, if you don't buy it, it's even better. Do you really need it? Could you wait another year? Yeah, so then people feel terrible then they try to at least buy the cheapest when they feel guilty and they get betrayed anyways, that at least for the lowest price. Yeah.
Michael, that one I take. A lot of companies are moving from foot printing to hand printing. So this notion of having this positive view, I fully agree.
Hand printing has been taken over from our beneficial footprint, but the hand print is a different thing. It's on purpose. I give you my hand. Yeah, but I'm talking benign by design, not by personal intention, not by education. No, people want to enjoy life. Their life is already so complicated. That's why I'm talking about a beneficial footprint, which becomes a wetland. And I do this now for nearly 50 years. And so the people now come with handprint, yeah, because they said, oh, beneficial footprint, they don't understand. It's still about impact. Why don't you talk about beneficial impact from the beginning? You want to be good for this planet. And this is a footprint by design, not by intention. Yeah, it's like when the Germans say you must have fun. Yeah, this is the intention. Yeah, but there is no fun with it.
Yeah. Moving to our next question, and to all of you, what are some of the most promising innovation, looking at solution spaces you see to actually start scaling circular economy in the fashion and textile industry? To all of you, maybe, who wants to start?
I can start.
Yep.
Because fashion industry is focusing, beside textiles, a lot of leather in the moment, because if you know all the leather handbags, small leather goods, it's a big issue in fashion. And if you have a look on automotive and fashion industries, we have more or less 1 billion of square meters of leather scraps, which are waste afterwards. And there are some new technologies, and there's one who is really circular. It's this Nabore, what we are working with in the moment. So they really can, with a new binder, they really take all the leather scraps, and it's no thermic way of working the product. So you don't have, even if you take from the tanneries the one with the chrome, you will not have chrome 6 afterwards. So it's really, you can make a new material consisting of like 75% leather and 25% a new binder, and you can reuse them. So you can reuse them for automotive, and you can use them in the fashion. And that's why I always say, I think the big groups have to work together, because perhaps, I would say in Volkswagen Group, for example, the Porsche will never use Manabora leather because they only want to have real leather. But in the same group, you have perhaps little Volkswagen Polo, and they make a really sustainable car, and they use a recycled material. So I think this is something which is scalable, and which is really able to be in circularity business.
Can I add just,
Yeah.
We have been doing it together with Hugo Boss a collection which called Binatex, yeah? So pine leather, actually, with Imperial College, one of my PhD students, and it was a very successful collection with shoes for Binatex, so pine waste material from
Pineapples.
From pineapples, yeah, and it worked quite nicely as well. But now we have a better binder as well, which allows to make it biodegradable completely as well. But I want to mention, look, 30 years ago, exactly 6 months, Britta Steilmann came with the first one, It's One World collection. And what happened? C&R, Anderson Moritz, they killed the whole company because they said, Britta, when you're talking about toxic materials in textiles, we will will phase out all the other Stylman products. So that's what the industry did. 30 years ago, Britta Stylman looked at its One World collection. They had perfectly biodegradable jeans and all this stuff, and she never got celebrated for that. She was the one, and as I said, the others were killed the whole Stylman company because of that. She said, if you put this down, if you talk about toxic chemicals, we will list you out with all the other collections. Yeah, just that you know. Yeah.
Any other comments on how do we scale this? How can we get out of this pilots into large-scale circular economy
We do
solutions?
this as well. Look, there's a company, DBL in Bangladesh. They work because we worked with German companies, Trigema, so we know the whole chain, and we can do now textiles with DBL, which don't need any wastewater treatment. We can use directly the wastewater for irrigation. So it's not environmental protection to build a wastewater treatment. It's not to need it. And even the sludge in the textiles, yeah, I'm happy for that because it makes soil with irrigation, the sludge with that. So DBL, and there are 4 brothers who really make a difference in Bangladesh. So, but we need to have the blueprint here, yeah? And we needed 50 years of blame and shame here actually to know how we can make textiles. And we can make polyesters biodegradable. If you just take till the next year, come up only with polyesters which are biodegradable, we can make them biodegradable because we cannot give up polyesters. We need polyesters in textiles, but they need to be designed that abrasion can go into the biosphere.
Thank you.
I love the I love the vision that Michael is describing. And you asked about like what are the most exciting technologies, etc. out there. I think it's not easy to answer because there is not just the one technology that's going to save it all. At the moment, we do have a lot of not very circular and sustainable products on the market, and that's the true reality. And I think there are exciting systems or startup technologies out there at the moment that take care of recycling. It's a big topic, and it's an increasingly big topic. It should not be the only thing we are talking about, but unfortunately, with the circular economy, a lot of times we talk only about recycling, but there are exciting systems out there for recycling, but also for sorting for recycling, collection. We have to really think in the entire ecosystem as of now. Obviously, design and how we design and develop our products is super important for the future as well, but we do have a problem right now that we also have to face.
Well, I think it's nice to have these pilot projects and ideas how to develop a biodegradable or circular fashion. But as long as that doesn't become a convincing business model to the companies, I think that's easily taken as an alibi for others. Yeah, we have an idea, and at some point in time we will implement it. What I think is necessary is producer responsibility. It has to become an economically viable business model for a company to come up with a circular solution. And for that, we need to make those financially accountable who put the products on the market. And if a company has a great idea to do it in a recyclable, biodegradable, or whatever way, this has to lead to lower payments and then a better, convincing, long-term, stable business model. And I think that is one of the key challenges. We have to talk about a global extended producer responsibility for textile products.
Yeah, but let's start simple. Look, Markus Reingen is a key purchasing person for textiles at Lidl. I talked to him about Lycra making microplastic. He just took the telephone, and said, from today on, we will not use Lycra in any Lidl cheap, whatever fast fashion stuff. Yeah, because it makes microplastic in Africa. So we can make a difference. Just do it, not just talk about it. And it's not that complicated to say, hey, we want to make sure that all the stuff which goes into the biosphere needs to be designed for the biosphere. But it's not about responsibility, even, Henning. It's because this is a feudalistic category. It's about duty. Why? So, I feel responsible. No, it's not about, it's their problem. We don't need textiles. We need the service of using textiles and it's their thing. So let's not talk about sustainability because this is guilt management. Let's talk about total beauty and total quality, because the product which is made with slave labor is not beautiful. Yeah, it's not beautiful when it destroys the environment. So let's talk about holistic quality and holistic beauty. That's about fashion.
Good. We're coming to the most interesting and fun part where I need you to ask questions to the panel. So please raise your hand. There's microphones running around. Quickly say organization, title, and then, to the esteemed panel, ask your question so that we utilize the presence. There's the first question here.
I got a micro here. Okay. I'm Rudy Vedder, Ecovation Consult. If I listen to all of you, it feels to me that the fashion industry really needs systemic change. And that relates very much to what you said, Christina, that has to do with collaboration, because it cannot be done by just one part of the supply chain. I think all stages of the supply chain, of the value chain, need to collaborate. And it starts with the raw materials and it ends with the consumer. And how can you imagine if such a system can exist like a, let's say, deposit system that we know for with beverages, where everyone takes a share, takes a part, that at the end of the day, things get circular and not linear anymore. Any ideas that makes any sense to you?
So let's maybe collect one more question. There's one over here as well.
Hi, I'm Julian from Sentry, and my question is, Michael, you just described the CPO of Lidl. He decided that he don't use these materials anymore.
No Lycra, yeah. He phased out Lycra just by phone call, yeah.
And how can we scale this? Should we all call the CPOs of the companies?
We can have Hugo Boss starting with it here, yeah.
Okay, who's for that?
Just to make it clear, Christina, yes, is a supervisory board member of Hugo Boss, but there are other companies, Adidas, PVH, and the likes. So we'll have the generic question as in what brands can do. We answer those two questions only. Time is not in our favor. So if you have any other questions, the panelists will be at the PwC stand outside. We'll be there for any further questions you might have. Over to the panel for the first two questions we had. Bottle system as a footprint for the fashion industry. What do you think? Is that feasible?
It has been done by Anderson Moritz, for example, as well, to put a deposit on textiles and apparel. So it's feasible, definitely. It brings customers back to the store as well.
Yeah, some new ideas.
We do. I mean, it's important. I like what you said. We have to bring the entire value, ecosystem together in the entire value chain, and there is a business model for each one of them. But there has to be this open-mindedness. We have to sit all together and actually share and be willing to do something, and also be willing to invest in the beginning. But that's the beauty of circular economy. It's an economy. It's a business model, and that should at least drive companies actually to investigate this and go and have this courage.
Yeah. Then to the second question, is it Michael calling all CPOs and that solves the problem? What does the panel think?
No, let's do it. Look, there are 110 grams of microplastic just by shoe sole abrasion. So if you just would join us next June for 1 week of walking barefoot, just wherever you are, go to the opera barefoot. We need to protest against that. We have shoe soles which have 110 grams of shoe sole microplastic abrasion. If you join us, there is a Cradle to Cradle NGO where you can find local groups and just do it. Just we don't leave it to the terrorists to make a difference. So it's up to us to really change things. And so we can, sure. I talked to Mrs. Schelle-Müller and said, look, organic eggs are so essential for Motel 1 because because it's so heavily polluted. And she takes the telephone and said, from tomorrow, Motel 1 is only purchasing organic eggs because the other ones are so have strongly polluted. So just do it, yeah, really make a difference.
Just do it sounds like a commercial from a shoe company as well. Coming to the end, and my final question for the esteemed panel, looking ahead, what is the one key action the fashion industry should take in the next 12 months? So when we meet next year again at the Impact Festival 2025, in 1 year's time, meet again at the Impact stage, what is the one action you would say the fashion industry should be doing?
Ladies first.
To progress as far as possible.
I would say use your database because they all know their customers, as we are very good now with data, and tell the people where they can their products repair. As one idea.
Good.
Well, that's a very tough question to answer in a couple of seconds, but sit together with your peers, with your ecosystem, and figure out what you can do. I love what you said. Just do it. You know, like just take that step, sit down, be open for it, and then I'm sure we have a different discussion in a year.
Well, I think the textile industry should be more proactive, you know, and come up with an industry agreement to stop the reduction of the lifespan of products. You know, that is ridiculous. That has to stop, and you know, it's about just doing it. So come up with something more concrete than we will do it more circular or more sustainable. Set a concrete objective that you know, where we can see in 12 months' time, did we actually achieve it?
Good. 3 things. First, take lycra out of textiles. Yeah, so because it's easy to replace, and there are other strands which are perfectly biodegradable. Secondly, make polyesters biodegradable because we know how to do this. And third, really honor the pioneers. Yeah, where they are. When you want to look for impact, if you don't celebrate pioneers like Britta Steilmann, invite her to tell her because then we don't have pioneers. Yeah, and don't be up for recognition first. Yeah, now people want to get recognition for that. Yeah, they want to get respected. What I did was not respected for more than 20 years. If you always expect to be respected for what you do and get recognition, then you don't do ever new things because for new things you cannot get recognition. So be real pioneers.
Wonderful. We are at the end. I want to thank all the panelists, Christina, Karl, Henning, and Michael. It was great having you on stage. Great having your insights into the topic, ideas into the topic. I want to thank you, the audience, as well. Thank you for your time. Thank you for attending. And I think as the panel said, just do it, make it happen, start acting, stop talking. Thank you very much and have a nice afternoon.